time to make some progress on Marvin. So here's his left leg sliced for the OrangeStorm Giga. I got a print time of 1 day and 8 hours using normal supports, 10% infill. Right, so I've sliced it, I've exported it to the thumb drive, and I guess I'll go and take it along and see how it looks. Let's just refresh the screen here. Yep, there's the file. Alright, let's go and take that to the printer. Alright, so I've sliced one of Marvin's legs, added it to the... Oh, what's hanging there? Bit of fluff. Added it to the USB drive. So I'm going to print that. There it is. So it's going to be around 18 hours and 12 minutes using the rubbish PLA up there. So it's asking me to confirm. I'll say print. Now I'm going to be honest and say that it took me 2 attempts to film this because I'd sliced it, got it in here, went to start printing with it, and realized that it was showing the heating for PETG, and then it occurred to me that the last thing I'd printed and sliced was using the PETG. I hadn't changed it over from Marvin's leg back to PLA for that white stuff. So I had to go cancel the print, go back, reslice it, and that's what I'm running off again now. I didn't get much down on there. It was just putting down a few of the lower layers there. But what is interesting, of course, is that PETG prints slower. So it actually slows down printing for PETG, because it was showing like a 1 day, 8 hours for the PETG print. Changed it to PLA and it comes up as 18 hours. So yeah, it took a considerable amount of time off. I guess using some of the rapid stuff, the settings for that might be even faster. I hate the way that thing thuds into the stoppers, but I guess it's alright. So let's see how this goes. So it's heating the bed up to 60 degrees. It shouldn't take too long because it was already heated from my aborted print. So it's just going to bring it back up again. Just to show you. Now you can see the bed temperature coming up. And because the leg is being printed in the center of the bed, all 4 quadrants you can see are heating up together. So interesting things. I approached Elegoo and said, okay, so I'm using my own plate here, one I had specially made by Ivy, and it fills the whole bed. But what I didn't want was, if I was putting something on the plate, that it might only heat a particular quadrant, and then that heat's got to pass through the whole plate. And it's and if it's only like 1 quadrant is heating and it's got to heat a whole plate that covers all 4 quadrants, it's going to be working its backside off doing that. So I asked Elegoo, I said, look, can we put an option in the slicer for a single plate so that all 4 quadrants will heat together like you're seeing here? And they came back and said no. But what they did suggest was 2 things. One, of course, that you either put your print so that there's something in the center that overlaps all 4 quadrants, and then you can see what's happening here, it will heat all 4. Or if it's a strange shaped print and there is a quadrant with something missing, take a small object, say a tiny Buddha or a little test cube, and pop it down on that quadrant, so that will heat up as well. So hey, guess it's solutions that work. So did also have a chap in one of the groups share me some G code that he'd written, which would just heat up everything regardless. But of course, that means going in, changing your startup G code and junking everything. And of course, if I ever go back, then I've got to go and redo the G code again if I decide to use 4 separate plates. But as I say, so far this single plate's been working well. So anyway, plate's heated up, and now it's heating up the nozzle. I picked 230 for nozzle temp, which I think is a good temperature. Yeah, 190 to 230, and I've always found on this one that it works better. I say better, just about at the higher end. Oh, there it is going down. And I guess we'll just let it get on with it. So I'll check on this every probably 10 minutes just to make sure that everything's sticking to the bed, because I don't want anything coming off and being dragged around like before. So once I'm comfortable, we'll let it get on with it overnight. I'll also take the opportunity to monitor this from my computer room over the nice new webcam. So, right, I'll catch you all in a bit. So the timings were all over the place for this, so it's estimating over 2 days now. And so I had a look at the way it had been sliced. So I picked the generic PLA, and the flow rate for it was like almost a third of what it was for PLA. For PETG. So it's running at about a third of the pace. So I'm just letting it put down some layers here. I mean, we've got 173 layers down. And if everything looks good, I'll just end up kicking up the speed percentage and accelerate it a bit. But yeah, so far it's looking all right. That's, some support on the outside there, in amongst the grooves of Marvin's leg, it's putting some support in there as well. But all in all, it's looking fine. Got plenty of filament on the spool, so should be enough to do the whole leg. So I'll just let it run overnight and see how it looks in the morning. Good morning, everyone. Thursday morning. I've got some pieces for a stand coming off on my Neptune 3 and 4 Max. Wife bought some storage racks, cheap off Temu, and it's supposed to be multi-level, but one of the levels didn't have the legs to stack on top of the rest. So I jumped into Tinkercad. It's pieces to go in, and then that tall bit there will go onto that, and then there'll be another piece that will go onto the bottom of that, and then I'm going to use that whole shelf to go over the Kobra 3 Max, and I'll relocate the 2 Ace Pros then on the shelf above it, and then I'll have space here to perhaps move the Century Carbon or put my Sunlu 8 Pro in that spot. I'll decide. Anyway, and of course I've been doing some more wall art. Judge Anderson coming off there. So, so that came out pretty nice. So getting back to Marvin, so there's Marvin's leg still going. See, I'm monitoring it on fluid. So now I'm going to go and take a walk into the garage and see how it looks face to face. Alright, so here it is in person. And it's looking really good. So just slow, but I don't know if it's me, but looking at what I've been calling this crappy filament all this time, it is looking a lot better at this really slow speed. So perhaps that's one way I can get some good results out of it, is just turning the speed all the way down. Something worth thinking about, but of course, who the heck wants to print anything big at this speed? So what might be good is things like wall art, which is flat and pretty much easy to come off. Stuff like this, done with it, might be a good option, because I've still got boxes of this damn stuff left. Boxes and boxes and boxes, about $600 worth of it. I've got to get rid of it somehow, but just ordered some more JO PETG up there, because they were having a bit of a sale on that. And I've still got some 5 kilogram spools of PETG and PLA back there from Sunlu and JO. But you can see there's 5 boxes there, and then I've got another, oh god, 2, 4, I can't even remember how many it is that I'm using as the stand for my Ace Pros for the Kobra 3 Max in the computer room, and that's all that 3 kilogram stuff. Right, but another task for today will be to try and clean this room up a bit and reclaim some space. So I've got that shelving unit that the wife bought that was missing some feet for an upper level, so that'll give me somewhere to stick some of this stuff, and then some of these old computer clutter can probably go up into the attic and give me some more storage space under these tables. Alright, there we go, that's the job for today. Meanwhile, Marvin's watching his legs come off. Keep an eye on that, Marvin. You don't want any failures. So this ended up working perfectly. So small bit slid into the groove in the top that I created, and with my friend the mallet over there, a couple of good whacks on the top here, it slid inside, and yeah, so that's one. There we go. Upper leg bit, that will work there. And I'm now about to start printing a lower section, so it'll be a similar thing again, be about the same height, bigger diameter, because this will slide into that, and then that will give me the height I need for the Kobra 3 Max to put the shelf on top. So alright, let's go and run off one more test piece for that lower section, make sure it fits. Meanwhile, I'll set the 3 Max running off the other 3 upper sections. Yay! So while Marvin's leg is coming off on the Giga, I've got the Kobra 3 Max making his chest panel. I'm using this one because there's some colored buttons on it and switches. So I colored them in the slicer, and it's only 3 colors, white and red, and it'll use silver for the panel part itself, so I won't have to do any painting. I'll just print that one fine. Same thing here on the Kobra 3 V2, that's one of the pieces for the panel that will slide in one of these slots. Again, it's got some colors to it, so I'll let that crack on. White, red and black, and of course the silver on the outside. So yeah, so everything's looking fine there. I've got the Centuri Carbon that's about to start doing some single color pieces again for the chest and arms. So yeah, trying to get all these machines running at once. And of course my little Elegoo Neptune 3 and 4 Max is beavering away there, making some legs so I can rearrange this clutter on the desk here. Right, I'm going to go and take a look in the garage and see how the leg is coming along. Right, Marvin's leg, we've got what, 3 complete segments there. It's up to the 4th part, so it's showing 28% complete. Like I say, might be doing it slowly, but I really am getting a very nice finish on this junk PLA. So, yeah, so that's probably been the secret all along. It just has to print slow. Painfully slow, unfortunately, but anyway, I'll let that carry on. I'll swap it out for the second leg for something that will print a bit faster. Right, so looking around here, time to get a dustpan and brush and start cleaning. Okay, so that's one of the grills finished. Looks pretty good. I like that one. The next one's a bit trickier. I've got to use some translucent green material with a yellow brim around it. So I'm going to see if I can find some translucent green PETG and load that up into the Ace Pro and get that one going. Right, so it's finished the bottom section of this leg. As you can see, there's the section cut out, so now this long bit will slot into that, and that will give me the total length of the post that I need to mount the tabletop on there. So I'm going to go and get my mallet and try and force that end into there and just hope that I did it right on Tinkercad with the dimensions. Right, so pieces did go together, although when I walloped it with the hammer, the join area where I changed filament actually split right there perfectly, so I had to go and get some PVC glue out and bond that back together. You can just see the line there. But right, so one leg complete, they do fit. So I've got the other 3 upper sections there, and the top piece is there. So now I'm going to set the 4 Max up to print the larger lower sections, 3 of them. Because it's a faster machine, it'll probably finish those 3 before this finishes the ones it's already got going. That's about 24% done. This one should easily catch it up. So let me go and slice them. Right, so it's Thursday night. Heading off to bed. So we're up to layer 1085, and it's looking very good. So we'll leave that running again overnight. Spool's full, so I shouldn't have any trouble there. We'll see how it's doing in the morning. Friday morning, and mixed bag of results here. So right, so those stands for relocating my Ace Pro. So the Neptune 3 Max finished the last 3, and I thought the 4 Max had finished it, but no, obviously ran out of filament. So I was about to go and reach to fill it, put a new spool on, and look what happened. The filament broke on that last bit. There's that kinky bit that hangs in there. Kinky bit? Strange. Broke off in the sensor. So it thought it still had filament. So it just kept on printing, even though it was in thin air. And look at this. Print done. It's so smug. It's so glad. There you go, Darren. Here's your finished print. Sod. I just hate it when that happens. Right. So, what am I going to do? Either have to reprint it, or I'll get on Tinkercad and make another piece that flips on top of this. And then those can go into the other piece. Decisions. Oh well, let's see what I'm going to do. But anyway, on a plus side, Marvin. Let's get back to Marvin. So the chest piece finished on the Kobra 3 Max. So, like I said, I did it in color because it had various buttons. And then these were done on the Kobra 3 V2. So these bits are translucent. Show you with the light, so I can put a light behind it. So put that one in there. Same with this one, that's clear, so I can put a light behind that. In there. And put that one in there. So there's Marvin's chest panel. That'll go into the main body section. That looks good. I left the Century Carbon running last night, so it's making, there we go, let me pull that off. So these are, once I get those supports out, that's a screw-on connector, so when Marvin's legs come up inside the pelvis, there's going to be a pin coming up, and then this will go over the top and screw onto the threads of the pelvis section and lock the legs in place. So I've got to make one more of them and let it run, but and of course clean up them supports. So I'm going to get on with that this morning. All right, let's go now see how Marvin's doing. All right, Marvin's legs still chugging away. What we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the 7th section. Still only 50% down. I didn't speed it up just because I'm getting such a smooth finish with this crappy filament at this speed. So I'm still going to just let this thing run itself out. Still tons of filament on the spool there. So I'll just let that run. And then last night I actually repaired the FL Sun T1 that I had. Found out what the problem was. Got a benchy off it as well. And what I'd done, just for your information, just in case anyone ever buys one of these things, the data cable from the motherboard at the bottom to the one at the top runs under this little panel here. And you have to thread it in so that it sits sideways. It's a wrapped data cable. And then you put this panel on, and then you put the screws in to hold this panel in place. Well, right about here, where these screws are, when I was pushing this on, the cable came out. So when I put one of the screws in, guess what I did? Yeah, I put the screw through the data cable. Which, of course, I was disassembling this yesterday to try and get this thing fixed as per the videos they sent me. So when I unscrewed this, pulled it out, There was the screw stuck in the cable, pulling it with it. By a miracle, the screw had gone between two wires, and it hadn't broken either of the wires, but what it had done was short the wires out, which was why I was getting the errors on this and it wasn't working. So when I took the screw out, I thought, oh, I'm going to need a new cable, but hey, let's just try it and see if it works. And lo and behold, the thing powered up and started working. So a little miracle there. So I'm going to be playing with this Delta today just to see what it can do. I ran that Benchy off yesterday and this thing is fast. So I've done a playlist and you'll be able to see what this thing's capable of. So see if I can get any bits of Marvin. I might do the little pegs that go into the midsection there to hold the legs on it. You saw that screw that I just made on the Century Carbon, because they'll go on top. So, alright, a lot of things to do this morning. Catch you all later. Right, so I hit a snag on the OrangeStorm Giga. I had a power spike in the house. It stopped the printer, and when I was hitting resume, it kept refusing to carry on printing. It would start, it would home, and when the print head would come back to pick up on one of these layers here, it would tell me that there was a problem, which I didn't understand what it was. Something about the axis couldn't get, you know, where it was, and I needed a restart clipper, try again after resolving the problem. I did that about 4 times and then finally gave up. I was like, oh, this damn thing's just not working. So I removed this from the bed. Of course, once it's off the bed, you're committed at that point. And once I got it off, I finally realized what it was. Where the head kept trying to go back to, and unfortunately I've already removed it, there was a large blob of raised filament. I mean, it was big and large, and it, obviously what had oozed out the end of the nozzle while it was frozen and then reheating again. And so what I think was happening was that it was homing, nozzle was coming back, and then it couldn't get to the start point because it was hitting the lump that was there. So I took the snips, of course, after I'd removed it, and cut that bit off to make it flat like it is now. So all along, all I needed to do was cut that piece off. The printer was just warning me it couldn't get the print head back because of a lump. I was like, well, next time I'll know. So it's a shame. There's a lot of the leg done there. You know, there was just probably about this much more to go. I'm going to have a think about this, and because I don't want to waste this. Let's see what my options are. Okay, so Marvin's leg recovery. I had a bright idea, so I brought this in here. So what I'm going to do is this thing finished printing just in line with the very top of this circle here, which gives me a great reference point. And as you can see, it's just infill, good solid walls. While I was looking at this, I think I realized why it wouldn't restart. There was a big lump of filament here where the head had rested. And what I think was happening was that after the head zeroed and came back, and it comes down, and it's trying to come down, it's coming down on a blob that was quite thick, and therefore it couldn't come down to start printing because it was off. And that's what I think the error was. So all I think I needed to do was come in like I've already done here and clip, you know, where the blob was and get it nice and flat, and then it would have been able to come back and carry on printing, and I probably wouldn't have been getting those errors. The machine was smart enough to know it wasn't at the right level to continue the print, and it was trying to warn me, and I didn't know what the warning was. That's what I think the problem was. I'll remember that next time. But anyway, so how am I going to fix this? Alright, so I'm just going to slice the top bit. So here's Marvin's leg. That's the point where it failed level on the bed. So all I've done is, once I come in here, I've just sunk the leg into the plate up to that point and then sliced it and saved it to the memory stick. So I'm just going to go in and reprint it from basically that point, and then I'll glue them together, and then hopefully the other leg will be one solid piece. And as I said, nobody's going to be walking around on these. It's going to be a static display, so it shouldn't pose a problem. At least that's the theory. All right, folks, bye. So calibrations are complete. Let's come in here and tell it to print. Let's see how it gets on for putting this on the plate. I'm thinking perhaps I really should have put a raft down and let it print on the raft, because it's going to be trying to put the infill down as a first layer. I really don't know how good that's going to stick. There is a brim, but you know, brims really don't do much apart from help to save the edges curving up. Oh well, we'll see. What's the worst that can happen? Another blob of death? Right. While that thing's chugging along here, let's take a look at this noisy FL Sun. So it's doing the peg for the top of the leg. Gotta say, the quality is really nice. So I've set the other one to go on the Century Carbon, and that's about an extra hour plus. So I thought the Century was fast, but this one with the same settings is faster still. So anyway, let that keep on printing. That's got another 2 hours and 17 minutes to go. We'll see how good my Z offset setting was in a minute. Purge line looking good. Well, I'm just gonna a bit of fluffy filament stuck under the head there. Yeah, it's like cotton wool. Guess I should have raised the print head and cleaned up all the fluff that ends up under the... I guess those fans suck everything in. But yeah, it's going down nice. let's leave that to run for a while and then we'll come back and take a look at it. Okay, so this is nice, and it's by more luck than judgment. The slicer software, obviously, rather than just put down the infill as the bottom layer, has actually put in a flat base. So great, that should give it plenty to hang on to, and it'll give me a good surface to actually glue this to the other section. Now I need to go and have a dig through and find out what the actual setting was that did that. But either way, that worked out good. I'll let him get on with it. Right, so this peg's finished printing. That's come out looking pretty good. So, there we go. Pop that off there. So what this thing's going to do is it's going to come down through Marvin's torso. You see those holes there? That's where the legs are going to attach. So this is going to pop down into a square peg on the legs, and there's some threads there that will allow this to come over the top. So when it pops down and goes in, to stop it coming back out again, you simply tighten this over the top, and that will screw onto the threads and hold it in place. So, okay. So I'd run these two off from the Century carbon earlier. That last peg is coming off from the Century now. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, so this will be Marvin's chest piece. God, yeah, drop everything. So anyway, that'll go in there. Or perhaps it's the other way around, upside down. Is it that way? No, it's that way. So that'll go in there. And then these pieces are going here. That bottom one right now I'm painting outside. Needed to put some extra paint on the sides, some yellow paint. And then I can rig this up at some point with lights. So I'm going to end up putting 2 lights up inside to the head, behind the eyes, and then I'll put something behind this chest piece to illuminate 2 of those panels. Alright, that's it for now. Good morning everyone. Saturday morning. Okay, one of Marvin's feet coming off here. The first big print that I've done on my brother's printer, and I'm quite sure why I'm getting all that sort of junk. I wonder if it's coming off the infill. Never seen that before. Something to investigate later, but the print itself looking good. And I ran out of filament on the OrangeStorm. I thought that was going to last. Right, so let me go and put some more filament in, and it can finish off Marvin's later. I mean, man, just short. You can see the hole there. Man, just must have run out. Damn it. Okay, let me go and fix that. Okay, new spool on, threaded through the filament out detector. Actually, let me push that more central. There we go. Into the print head. Hit confirm. Let's load. It's not loading very well. Right, let me see what's going on here. Okay, that was the problem. I thought the hot end was saying it was at 200 degrees, but it wasn't. So now it's heating up. Now the filament should go through. Alright, let's hit play and resume. Oh, there it is. Purging out the bottom. Okay, so 81%, another 2 hours to go. We'll come back to that later. Alright, so here's Marvin's foot on my other Neptune 4 Max, and strangely enough, not as bad, but they're still there. There's stuff flaking off. It must be that damn infill. You know, to have two machines doing that, it's something that I don't often see. So, weird. Okay, so at least I know it isn't the printer. It must be something in the settings. Probably when I sliced it, perhaps it needed more Z-hop or something, I don't know. So anyway, that other foot's coming along good. So that's it. Oh, I did finish my table legs last night, so I'm going to be moving everything around on table so I can relocate those Ace Pro units. Right, time to watch the footy. Catch you all later. Right, so a little test print here on the FL Sun versus the Century Carbon for speed and quality. This only had a 0.2 millimeter layer height option, so I set the Century Carbon for the same thing. And this came in an hour faster. I mean, this was like 3 hours and a few minutes as opposed to 4 hours and a few minutes on the Century. And here's the, you know, the two prints. Take this in a bit. Here we go. So all in all, smoothness. I'd say that running my finger over it, that the T1 is a hell of a lot smoother than. Oh, sorry. Let's get them the right way around. The Century Carbon is a hell of a lot smoother than the T1, but like I say, it's an hour difference. And excuse the obvious change here. This one ran out of filament at this point, so I had to change the filament. Same here, it's got a little line here on the T1's version, but I had to do a filament change there as well, so this is actually different filament too. But they're both beautiful and very respectable. I mean, the finish is great on both, just this one is smoother. But yeah, for fast prototyping or running off quick parts, I mean, these are both going to be great. These these pieces here that'll screw onto Marvin, they both came off on the carbon, but they're going to both work great. So yeah, this is going to be a really handy machine for running off small fast pieces. I think I'm going to like this. Anyway, looking around for Marvin now. So that's that bottom section of his left leg. If you remember that I had the failure on. the Neptune 4 Max, my brother's old one, that's just finished this foot. I'm going to have to clean that up because there's all these strands over it. Like I say, these just seem to come off the infill, and then were being thrown everywhere. So, and I did actually have it on the worst setting and the fastest speed, which might not have helped either. But yeah, that ran off nicely. Over here, that's the upper section of the leg. Oh, there we go. So there's a brim on there which will need to come off, but you can see I did it with a solid base. So what will happen is I'm just going to glue that on there, and there's Marvin's leg back in one piece again, without me having to reprint the whole thing. So that's it. I had that little failure at the perfect place, so I could see exactly where it needed to be. So some good plumber's PVC glue, we'll put those together, and now I've got to just do the right leg for that. Now, as you can see, that's the top of the leg, that's the bottom of the leg. That gap there is where Marvin's foot will end up slotting in. So there you go. So that's a complete leg that will go onto the base of Marvin, and of course there's a pin that goes in the other end. Let me just take these bits out. I should be able to show you if I flip this bit over. Of course, it's always awkward doing it with one hand. Now it's got infill in it. I've got supports, I should say. So I'm going to have to pull that bit out. But that will be the peg holder. So this will go into that and slide down and lock in. And then that ball comes up into the lower part of Marvin's body there. And then once it comes out, once it's in there, this comes down over the top of it, and that will lock it in place so the legs can't fall out. Right, nearly there. Oh, and I still have one arm to do. I've got to finish Marvin's other arm. So one more leg, one more arm, and then painting. And then, and the electronics, but I can work on that slow time. So we're nearly there. Okay, back to work.